It's fine today. 大光です。今日も今日とて昨日の続きやります。12時くらいまでやります。ちょっと12時から見たい配信もあるんで。今日バンダムフェスもあるんで。Before going to a job interview, be sure to do your homework. You don't have to know the company inside out, but try to learn some basic aspects about their operations. ちょっとなぜか首が傾いてる。ウェブカメラ作動してんのかな。Be sure to A. Inside out. Aspect. Today's agenda will include explicit information about the proposed measure and the new wage increase. Agenda. Minutes. Explicit, clear, obvious, implicit, explicitly, merger, M&A or merger and acquisition. Merge, wage, if farmers change their cultivation methods, we can anticipate adequate grain harvest across the continent. Cultivation, cultivate, agriculture, farming, agriculture, anticipation, grain, continent, the continent, continental. We cannot speculate on who leaked the confidential report to the press. Leak. Leakage. When submitting reports, Employees are required to strictly follow the manual. You must fill in all blanks on the form. Any additional comments may be written at the bottom of the page, not in the margins. Submission, manual, handbook, guide, hand operated, blank, empty, blankly. It is said that his reputation as an outstanding leader is beyond reproach. It is said that reputation, name. She has a good reputation as a dentist. Repute, reputable. A highly reputable lawyer. Rumor, reproach, beyond reproach. To calculate expenditures, we must determine approximately how many guests the hotel can accommodate. Calculate, calculation, calculated. A calculated claim. Expenditure, revenue. Expand, spend. Approximately, roughly. Approximate, approximation. Accommodate, accommodation. Accommodating. He collapsed from sheer exhaustion after exerting himself too much in his vigorous exercise session. Collapse. Collapse of a national bank. A collapse in the value of the yen. Exhaustion, exhaust. I felt exhausted after the workout. Exert, exert oneself. Exertion. Make exertions. Vigorous. Vigor. Vigorously. Sometimes I try to get away from the fast-moving pace of daily life, so I go to a quiet place to practice mindfulness. I take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. I focus my attention on my breathing again and again. Eventually, I end up feeling more content with life. Get away from A. Pace. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath. Attention. Pay attention to A. Attentive. End up. She had wanted to be a singer but ended up as a beautician. Content. Contentment. Discontent. Watch out for the skier who is out of control on this steep hill. Watch out for A. Watch out for the car. Out of control. The machine was completely out of control. Steep. Steep stairs. Steepen. Steeply. Soccer fans are apt to disturb the pace with aggressive behavior after match. Be up to A. Tend to A. It is up to lane. Disturb. Do not disturb. Disturbed. Disturbing. Aggressive. aggressiveness, aggressively, aggression, the athlete never does his daily exercise routine without stretching and warming up first. Athlete, athletic, athletics. Never do A without doing B. Exercise. Do exercise. Routine. Routinely. Route. Take one's route. Stretch. Stretchy. OBS を起動したらね、なんかカメラが OBS カメラになっちゃってね、DMM 英会話がね、カメラが機能しないんですよ。仕方なく iPad でやってるけど、iPad だとペーストして Google 翻訳入れるのがめんどくさいんですよね。一旦途切れちゃうのかな、カメラが。ちょっとそこは違いだから分かんないんですけど。But for momentary splash of rain, the weather was perfect all day. But for your help, I could not have succeeded. Momentary, temporary, moment, for a moment, at the moment, at any moment. The Japanese man bowed politely when he met the prestigious visitor. Bow. Politely. Polite. Rude. Impolitely. Polite. Politeness. Prestigious. Prestige. Although tired, the climbers stuck to their plan and gradually ascended to the mountain's summit. Stick to A. Stick to it. Sticky. Gradually. Gradual. Ascend. Climb. Descend. Ascend a mountain. Ascendant. Rising. Descendant. Dominant. Ascending. scent. Some skiers wandered into the avalanche area even when warned to keep away from it. Wander. Stroll. Wander along the street. Wanderer. Wandering. Keep away from A. You should keep away from the construction site. Keep out. You should be ashamed of the rigid and biased rhetoric you have developed. Be ashamed of A. Rigid. Strict. Rigidly. Rigidity. Rigidly, strictly, biased, a biased view, bias. 推しってバイアスっていうらしいですね。Outlook. He swore to cherish his new wife, but before long he began to take her for granted. Swear. Cherish. Cherish a child. Before long. A person who betrays and deceives his friends and family does not deserve compassion. Betray. Betrayal. Deceive. Deceit. Deceitful. Deserve. Deserved. Compassion. Compassionate. Compassionate. Mobile phones, an essential accessory for millions of people, can significantly increase blood pressure. Mobile, mobile. A mobile phone. Cell phone. Mobility. S essential. Be essential for A. Be essential to A. Essence. In essence. Significantly. Most significantly. Significant. Important. Significance. When the earthquake struck, there was widespread damage to property. In addition to reports of people being trapped in the rubble, attempts to rescue these individuals began immediately. Shelters also were set up for those displaced from homes considered to be unsafe to stay. Earthquake. Widespread. A widespread superstition. The flood did widespread damage. Property. Property law. In addition to A, trap. Attempt. Trial. An attempt at murder. On one's first attempt, he attempted to stand up but fell back. Attempted. Be indicted for attempted murder. Shelter. A bomb shelter. Take shelter in A. Unsafe. Unsafety.これツイッター連携ってどうやるんですかね。ちょっとやってみよう。 ちょっとわかんないですね。Many nutritionists advise people to eat a mostly plant-based diet, which emphasizes minimally processed foods from plants, along with modest amounts of fish, lean meat, and low-fat dairy. One of the mostly plant-based diets, the Medi- 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 Mediterranean diet, has been identified by Harvard researchers as the best diet to follow in order to live a long life. Advise. Advise caution. Advise. Advise caution. Advice. Could you give me some advice? Advisory. Advisable. Best. Export-based economy. Base. Be based on A. Along with A. Modest. Modest behavior. Modestly. Daily. 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 乳製品のって意味なんだ。Daily produce. In order to A. So as to A. We left early in order to prepare for the meeting. So that A. She studied hard so that she could pass the entrance exam. It goes without saying that prejudice and discrimination should not be tolerated. It goes without saying that A. Needless to say, prejudice. Have a prejudice in favor of A. Prejudiced. Discrimination. Racial discrimination. Discriminate. Discriminating. Discriminative. Once we learn to conquer our fears, we can prevail over many obstacles in life. Conquer. Conquer the nation. Conqueror. Conquest. Prevail. Prevailing. Prevalent. Her critical remark provoked a reply from the man that was neither rational nor coherent. Provoke. Provoking. Provokingly. Reply. Neither A nor B. Rational. Irrational. Rationalism. Rationalize. Rationalization. It is not ideal to indulge in flattery, but to believe it is even less prudent. Ideal. Idealist. Realist. Idealistic. Idealize. Ideally. Indulge. Indulge in A. Indulgence. Flattery. Compliment. Flatter. Flattering. Prudent. Prudence. Every now and then, animals running laws in the area set off the security alarm. Every now and then. Sometimes. Sooner or later. Loose. Loosely. Loosen. Tighten. Set away. Set of fireworks. Ah, ケツが痛い。Economy fares are just a fraction of the cost of first class travel. Fare. Fraction. In a fraction of a second. Fractional. Decimal. Jessica Meadows, in her new novel, Nightmare, has created a suspense-filled murder mystery with colorful characters, written in the easily readable style her fans have come to expect. The story is told from the perspective of a child witness. It's no wonder that Nightmare is already a bestseller and well worth considering if you enjoy reading a good mystery. Novel. A historical novel. A novel story. Novelty. Novelist. Suspense. Suspend. The student was suspended from school. Suspension. A suspension of nuclear tests. Colorful. Style. The man has no style. Be worth doing. Worth.もうあと20ページくらいかな。やっちゃうかな。まあ20ページだけ残して次に持ち越すのも気持ち悪いしね。やっちゃいましょう。She was conscious of the stranger's penetrating stare, and it made her feel very awkward. Conscious. Be conscious of A. Be aware of A. Consciously. Consciousness. consciousness, lose consciousness, penetrate, penetrating, penetration, awkward, awkwardly, timid, coward. He extinguished that last cigarette and refrained from smoking for the rest of his life. Extinguish, extinguishable, extinguishable, extinguisher. Refrain, refrain from doing. Rest, the rest of. Take a rest. Rest on A. Restless, restless. The house had decayed so much they could not help tearing it down at last. Decay. Deteriorate. His health is starting to deteriorate. Deterioration. Amelioration. Deterioration of environment. Cannot help doing. Cannot help but A. At last. Finally, in the end.さあ、ちゃっちゃと1周目終わらせるぞ。Traditionally, Hollywood movies were financed by the film studios, with budgets soaring. Today's films are largely funded by outside investors and creditors. To reduce costs, producers sometimes persuade stars to accept a percentage of the film's profits as payment for their work. traditionally, traditional, a traditional custom, tradition. Tradition says that a studio, 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 investor, creditor, credit, credible, credible information, persuade, persuade A to B, do, persuade A to B, persuade A to B, persuasion, persistent persuasion, persuasive, persuasive speech, payment, payment in advance, in payment for her hospitality, pay. Are you paying in cash or by credit card? Cellular phones are convenient for conveying brief messages but not for idle chatter. Convenient, convenient. Be convenient for a. Conveniently. Convenience, convenience. Convey, conveyable, conveyable, conveyor, brief, briefly, idle, idleness, chatter, chat. More than 30 years after the popular TV drama From Oregon with Love was first broadcast, the Japanese still seem to be genuinely fascinated with Oregon. In particular, its largest city, Portland, in Tokyo, Japan's capital. Customers have been flocking to recently opened Portland-themed restaurants and shops. Broadcast. Genuinely, genuine, real, true, authentic, genuine economic recovery, fascinate, fascinating, fascination, have a fascination for a, capital, capital investment, capital punishment, capitalize, capitalization, customer, customer management, customary, custom, customs duty. The passengers exclaimed loudly when the bus went too near the edge of the road. Exclaim, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. exclamation exclamation mark H be on the verge of A be on the verge of A be on the verge of starvation. The speaker prefaced his remarks by saying that they merely represented his own perspective. Preface A with B. Postscript merely, only. I merely wanted to give this to you. Mere. Perspective. やっぱり人来ないからニコニコでやった方がいいかもな。TOEIC満点になったら YouTube 移行して。According to this handout, prospective research subjects will accelerate the process by submitting their consent from 2 weeks in advance. Handout A. Give. The instructor handed out score sheets. Hand. My mother handed me her hair comb. Handwriting. Prospective. A prospective client. Prospect. Possibility. In prospect. Accelerate. Decelerate. Acceleration. Camida. Deceleration. Accelerator. Consent. Informed consent. though the processes of civilization sprang forth in ancient Mesopotamia, it was the inhabitants of nearby Palestine who cultivated crops for the first time. Precious, important, preciously, seeding, civilization, barbarism, civil service, civil rights movement, civilized, uncivilized, civilian aircraft, military aircraft, inhabitant, residential, for the first time. When did you write a novel for the first time? Much to his sorrow, she scorned his love and married another. Sorrow, grief, to one's sorrow, to one's delight, sorrowful, sorry, scorn, with scorn, scornful. Ah, かゆい。All at once, the electric power went out and we were at the mercy of the storm. All at once, suddenly, at the mercy away, mercy caring, merciful, merciless, mercifully. Pity. Out of pity. It's a pity that I. Pitiful. Pitiless. Stormy. Uh, uh, it's fine today. Artificial diamonds, crafted to resemble the real thing, are available at bargain prices. Artificial, synthetic, natural, artificial intelligence, artificially, craft, craft a plan, crafty, resemble, resemblance, bargain, beat a bargain, bargaining. They tried in vain to reconcile their differences and finally got a divorce. In vain. Reconcile, reconcile, reconcile. Reconciliation. Reconciliatory. Divorce. Marry. Get divorced. The idea that the pyramids were built by ancient space travelers is a ridiculous hypothesis. Ancient, modern, ridiculous, stupid. It is ridiculous that A. Ridicule. Make fun of A. Ridiculously. You must be kidding. Hypothesis. Assumption. Hypothesis. Hypothetically. In his lecture, the professor stated his belief that the breakdown of modern society stems from an inherent selfishness, in which personal ambition and greed have priority over the common good. Inherent. Innate. Be inherent in A. Inhere. Selfishness. Selfish. Selfishly. Personal. Personally. Personality. Ambition. Desire. Realize one's ambition. Ambitious. Several historical scholars acknowledge the premise that there was a conspiracy to assassinate President Kennedy. Scholarship. Acknowledgement. Acknowledged. Confirm. Confirmation. Premise. Premise. Assumption. assume, assume responsibility, assassinate, kill, assassin, assassination. Statistical analysis is the most widely accepted tool for evaluating consumer data. With statistics, it is possible to achieve external validity. In other words, to make claims about the whole population. External, internal, appearance, externally, validity, valid, invalid, validly. In other words, namely, that is to say, claim, package claim. Insist, assert, content. Claim an inheritance. Claimant. First-class passengers are entitled to expect exceptional comfort in the front of the plane, while those in economy must suffer possibly in the rear. Exceptional, unexceptional, expert, exclude. The plan is perfect except that it is too complicated. Exception. Without exception. Exceptionally. Possibly. Passive. Active. Passive observer. Rear. Front. A rear gate.あと4ページ。Pope Benedict XVI headed the Catholic Church until they went into retirement in 2013. His successor, Pope Francis, is the first Pope to come from the Americas. Pope Francis is known for his humble manner and his willingness to speak out on social, political, and economic issues. Head. Go into retirement. Forced retirement. Retire from A. Retire from the army. Retired. A 72-year-old retired doctor. Humbly. Manner. Willingness. Willing. Be willing to A. I am willing to give you a hand. Willingly. She was grateful for the generous donation that would ease her financial burden and allow her to strive for a better life. Be grateful for A. Be thankful for A. Be appreciative of A. Generous. It was generous of you to buy me a new car. Generously. The printing isn't clear, but I think this says to insert the gauge on top of the pressure cooker and refer to the manual for cooking times. Insertion. Gauge. Measure. Gauge my ability. He felt miserable and fainted. The doctor's diagnosis was inconclusive. She decided to confine him to his home a few days. Faint. Subtle. Faintly. Confine. Confine A to B. Confined. Confinement. What if we take a sentimental journey to the resort hotel we honeymooned in? I can make a reservation. What if sentimental? I get sentimental when I talk about my past. Sentiment. Public sentiment. Emotion. A person of strong emotions. Emotional. An emotional argument. Emotionally. Reservation. Reserve. In reserve. Reserved. はい。これにて、トイックじゃねえや、速読速聴コア1900バージョン5、1周目が終わりました。とりあえず次は CD 聞いて、ちょっと、 シャドーイングが早すぎて厳しいんですけど、とりあえず見ながら聞いて目で追って一周することにします。ありがとうございました。サリュー。